This is OwlUp, where learning happens in minutes, not hours. For a deeper journey, explore all our courses at owlup.co. Now, let's dive in. Welcome to Chapter 1 of The Psychology of Lying, where we're diving into the fascinating question of why people bend the truth in the first place. We'll explore the surprising reasons behind our everyday fibs and bigger deceptions, from protecting our self-image to avoiding awkward social situations. Let's get into it. Most lies aren't criminal. They're polite. You smile, say, "I'm fine," accept an invite you dread, compliment a meal you don't like. Yet those tiny distortions quietly shape who trusts you, who opens up, and who doesn't. Today, we're stepping right into that uncomfortable space. We usually think of lying as a moral failure, but psychology treats it more like a tool built into the human operating system. Long before contracts and HR departments, our ancestors had to bluff strength, hide weakness, and negotiate alliances just to survive. That wiring didn't disappear when we started sending emails instead of hunting in groups. It just put on a suit and logged into Zoom. Modern research suggests dishonesty isn't random bad behavior, but a flexible strategy our brains deploy when goals collide. Protect myself versus protect the relationship. Short-term gain versus long-term reputation. And it's not just about whether we lie, but how. From crafting a spotless dating profile to optimizing a performance review. In this episode, we'll zoom out from individual fibs and look at the system, the brain circuits, cultural rules, and hidden incentives that quietly nudge us toward bending the truth. So instead of asking, "Is lying bad?" a sharper question is, what job is this lie doing right now? Sometimes it's shielding status at work, sometimes it's avoiding conflict at home, sometimes it's protecting a private fear you're not ready to share. Psychologists call this the function of the lie. And those functions tend to cluster. Protection of self, protection of others, pursuit of advantage, or pure habit. Each cluster leaves a different trace on your stress level, your relationships, and even how you remember events afterward. In a way, every lie is a quick patch over a deeper tension you haven't solved yet. If you zoom in on the moment just before a lie, three forces tend to collide: stakes, stories, and skills. Stakes. What happens if I tell the truth? Your brain runs a lightning-fast cost-benefit script. How big is the risk? Embarrassment, rejection, punishment, lost money? How big is the potential reward? Approval, status, a smoother day? High stakes don't always cause lying, but they tilt the scales. That's why people may fudge hours on a timesheet yet hesitate to lie under oath. Same person, different perceived fallout. Importantly, it's not the objective danger that matters, but your subjective sense of it. A teenager may lie about grades with the same internal urgency an executive feels signing a misleading report, even though the real-world consequences are worlds apart. Stories. Who am I in this situation? We carry mental narratives. I'm a good employee. I'm a supportive partner. I'm the kind of person who helps family. When reality clashes with that identity, missed targets, hurtful feelings, inability to help, we face an uncomfortable choice: update the story or edit the facts we report to others. Lies often slip in as tiny edits to protect that self-story. The project is basically on track. It doesn't really bother me. These aren't random, they're drafted to keep our inner image intact and to present a compatible image to whoever's listening. Skills. Can I pull this off? Dishonesty also depends on cognitive bandwidth. To lie, you have to suppress the literal memory, invent an alternative, keep track of who knows what, and monitor the other person's reaction. That load draws on attention, working memory, and self-control. When you're exhausted, stressed, or juggling tasks, that machinery is less reliable. Some people then default to blunt honesty because they can't manage the performance. Others rely on highly practiced, low-effort scripts. Running late, traffic's crazy, that feel almost automatic. Over time, repeated success at small fabrications can shift the internal calculus. Consequences seem smaller, the identity story flexes to accommodate just a bit of spin, and the skills become smoother. The behavior that once felt effortful and risky starts to feel like a normal option in the menu of responses, especially in environments that quietly reward results and rarely question methods. Think about 3 common scenes. First, a team stand-up. A manager, behind schedule, says the feature is basically ready. No one gasps, the meeting moves on. The stakes feel moderate. The self-story of competent leader stays intact, and the mental math says, I'll fix it before anyone checks. Second, a friend's party. You arrive exhausted and claim you're just popping out for a call before slipping home. Here, the risk is awkwardness, and the tiny fiction protects both your image and theirs. Third, anonymous online behavior. Someone fills out an expense form, rounding up a taxi fare. There's no face across from them, just a form and a policy that everyone bends anyway. Without direct social feedback, the inner brakes loosen. Across these scenes, notice how anonymity, audience, and accountability quietly dial the temptation up or down, much like how background music in a store nudges shoppers without them realizing it. Different context, different threshold for bending the facts. A future saturated with seamless fakes won't just fool us, it may slowly retrain our sense of what counts as truth. Contracts, news, even casual voice notes start to feel more like weather forecasts, probabilistic, not absolute. Platforms might respond with honesty infrastructure, cryptographic signatures, audit trails, bias-aware lie detection aids. The risk is outsourcing integrity to tools rather than redesigning schools, workplaces, and laws to reward uncomfortable truth over convenient fiction. So instead of asking, "Do I lie?" a sharper question is, where do my words quietly drift from what I know? Notice how apologies soften, how status updates skip failures, how digital profiles crop out doubt. Your challenge this week: catch one of those drifts in real time and, once, steer it back towards something truer. Then watch what actually happens. This was OwlUp, your daily step forward. To keep learning with structured courses and more insights, go to owlup.co. Until tomorrow!